Everyone loves a good comeback story in life and in sports. Joe Burrow and Coach O at LSU, go Tigers. Tiger Woods winning the Masters. Jonas Salk inventing the polio vaccine. The revitalization of Japan's economy in the 21st century. Tyson Fury. And hopefully one day Rick Moranis, but the list goes on. And now one man joins them. Not just any man, a man by the name of Furkan Korkmaz. And it is a pleasure to be able to tell his story because many thought this story would never happen, certainly not like this. It all started for Mr. Korkmaz in Istanbul, Turkey, where he was born. He turned pro at the young age of 15, where he was making $250,000 to play basketball. By 2016, he declared for the NBA draft and was selected 26th overall, of course by the Philadelphia 76ers. At the time, the Korkmaz pick made perfect sense. He wouldn't be playing that year as he would be playing overseas, something 76ers fans knew all too well as Dario Saric was drafted and didn't play in the NBA for the Sixers for another 2 years. The Sixers were balls deep in their rebuild as they had only won 10 games that year and were by far the worst team in the NBA. Ben Simmons was notably picked number 1 overall in the same draft as Furkan Korkmaz. And don't get it twisted, in Philly all the attention was on Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and the future of the franchise, but there was some small amount of hype surrounding Furkan Korkmaz. Furkan split time between the Delaware 87ers and the Philadelphia 76ers his rookie season. He played only 14 games for the Sixers, most of those games coming during Philly's 16-game win streak to end the season. What he showed really wasn't much. The hype around him was he was a pure shooter, but his rookie year he shot 28.6% from the field and 27.3% from 3, which did not reflect his potential talents at all. He was horrendous on defense, and his slim build didn't look like it was up to the NBA standard just yet. Still, most fans understood he was young, relatively inexperienced when it comes to at least the NBA, and were willing to give him another chance. Give him the summer, see how he does next year. Fast forward to summer 2018, there was a lot of hype around Furkan Korkmaz as he dropped 40 points in a summer league game against the Celtics. Any fans of shooting should watch that because he was putting on a clinic. He was looking like Steph Curry. But unfortunately, that did not translate to the following regular season. After only playing 5 games out of a possible 8 and meaningless minutes when he did play, the Sixers front office let us know how they felt about Furkan long term. They would not be picking up his option, which means by the end of the 2018-2019 season, he was set to become a free agent. World-class journalist Keith Pompey also hinted at that Korkmaz was unhappy in Philly and wanted to be traded due to his lack of minutes. After that decision to decline his option, there were some games where you questioned whether the Sixers had made the right moves. A few 18-point games here, a few 16-point games there, but by the end of the season, it was pretty much a consensus among the fans that it was time to part ways with Korkmaz. He was still a very poor defender, still looked a little undersized, and he couldn't do the one thing he was brought to Philly to do, which was shoot the basketball. He was shooting 32.6% from 3 on the year and was ultimately unplayable in the playoffs when it mattered. To make matters worse, the criticism only piled on Korkmaz and the general manager who drafted him, Brian Colangelo, because Korkmaz was juxtaposed with Pascal Siakam, the breakout star on the Raptors, who was a key piece in winning the 2019 NBA title for them. Well, why was he juxtaposed by them? Because Korkmaz was the 26th overall pick, and Pascal was the 27th. The Sixers also had the 24th overall pick, so with the benefit of hindsight, Colangelo essentially had 2 chances to pick Pascal Siakam. The Sixers were of course eliminated by the Raptors, and Korkmaz was not on anybody's mind when it comes to what to do next year for the team to win a title. It seemed like parting ways was the only thing the Sixers and Korkmaz could do. He just wasn't good, and he wasn't efficient. News broke that Korkmaz would be headed back to Turkey before the NBA free agency started, and that is where the story should have ended. But like the Undertaker, Korkmaz rose from the dead, and after the dust settled on a wild free agency that started on, let's say, June 30th, July 1st, no, the real news that broke the internet came on July 24th, that Korkmaz had signed a 2-year deal with the Sixers. The general reaction among Sixers fans was generally something like, huh? That guy's still around? And just general confusion. Sure, the team probably was going to have shooting trouble moving forward, but was Korkmaz going to be that guy when he lacked consistency in the past? Coach Brett Brown had faith in Korkmaz, saying this at an early point in the season.
I need to grow a bomber. I need, really, like somebody's going to emerge where they're like lightning in a bottle. They can come in and go bam, 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 and make a 3. And why not Furk?
And the general reaction to Brett Brown's comments was basically, well, I'll believe it when I see it. But to everybody's surprise, Korkmaz has actually turned into a valuable NBA player in the 2019-2020 season, and slowly but surely becoming a consistent shooter on a team that desperately needs it. He's becoming more and more intertwined in the Sixers offense as he's averaging career highs in minutes, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage, and was very briefly at 40% shooting from three, a mark nobody would have thought possible just a few months ago. He is starting to gel with pass-first guard and top 5 in assists in the league Ben Simmons, and has begun to fill the shooting void that JJ Redick left last year. His confidence has improved tremendously, and while he isn't the best ball handler and isn't the best creating shots for others, he still has been able to utilize a nasty step back and pump fake pretty frequently this year. And while he is still very much a bad defender, he has shown some signs of improvement. He also is still troubled with consistency at times this year, that's evidenced by his stats. At home this year, Furkan shoots 46.6% from 3, but on the road, he shoots just 33.1%. But maybe that's just this year's Philadelphia 76ers. And Furkan's game is still pretty one-dimensional. He's mostly a catch-and-shoot guy. NBA.com data reflects that the longer Korkmaz holds the ball, the less efficient he becomes. But I'm willing to overlook all of this based on the tremendous strides he's made this year. 34 points against Memphis, 31 points and 24 points against Chicago this year, 21 points against Detroit, and of course an infamous game winner against Portland in November. And the Sixers really aren't paying him a whole lot this year for how much he's produced. He's getting $1.6 million this year, with a qualifying offer of $1.76 million next year, which is an absolute steal for the organization. And keep in mind, this man is also just 22 years old. 22 years old, I get that that's still 3 years older than Jason Tatum, but this man is still young and he's got a lot to give to the game. Philly has embraced him of late. Check out these memes, like this one, and this one, and this one, and also this one. And those were just the ones I made. Seriously, I made those because I got nothing better to do. But in conclusion, holy shit, Furkan Korkmaz, and I never thought I would say this, but Furkan Korkmaz and his shooting might be the X factor for the Sixers in the 2020 playoffs. Alright, that is it. Remember to subscribe because I'm making at least one video per week. Alright, Paradise, play us off.